Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to use GeoGebra to plot vectors and how to multiply matrices in GeoGebra as well. So first of all, navigate over to geogebra.org, geogebra.org. It'll take you to this page, and from this page, don't select Start Calculator. Instead, select GeoGebra Classic, and that's just going to give you more features. You may not need to use them, but all of these features here are accessible by using GeoGebra Classic. So I personally prefer this. Okay, so to define a matrix, let's suppose that we want to just define the matrix with 1, 2, 3, 4 across the 2 rows. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just type in the name of the matrix. You can use capital A. The only variables that are reserved in GeoGebra are X and Y. So we'll type in A equals, and to begin a matrix we'll use a curly bracket. Now you'll see that I just opened the curly bracket and automatically it puts in a closing bracket. Now to do the first row, we need another pair of brackets. Okay, so now the outer brackets start the matrix, the inner brackets start one of the rows. So if in that row I want the elements 1 and 2, I will put in 1, 2. Now if I just press enter now, this will just create a row matrix, but what I want is another row. So I'm going to still stay within the outer brackets, but I'm going to move over past the inner brackets. I'm going to put a comma to say I want to start a new row. And to start the new row, I'll put in an opening bracket. And now I want the elements 3, 4 in there. And now when I press enter, you see that a matrix has been created. Nothing gets plotted because we can't plot a 2x2 matrix in 2-dimensional space. Okay, so now we want to, let's say, create a vector. And so to create a vector, I am going to type in x sub 0, and you don't need to do subscript, but you just can't call it x, because that's going to plot the line y equals x. That's a system variable. So if I do x sub, I just did x underscore, and the underscore put me inside of the subscript. And so now if I press the right arrow, you'll see that we'll exit out of that subscript. And this just allows me to create a vector that's called x, but to say that this is like an x value, x vector at time 0. So what I'm going to type in is I am going to say equals, and now I can create another matrix that just consists of one column. And so the way I could do that is to open a matrix. Let's say that I want this to be the vector 2, 3. So in the first row, I just have the element 2, and in the second row, I would have the element 3. And if I press enter, you see that it creates the vector, but nothing gets plotted. So what I can do to that is I can say, instead of creating it that way, I can actually use a function inside of GeoGebra, and you can see that this can kind of be somewhat clunky. So you might actually have to just double click on or click on the little triple dots there and delete. I'm going to say x sub 0 equals vector. Oh, I'm still in the subscript there. Equals vector. And now as you begin typing that out, you can just select this guy here. And now you need to just give it a point as an ordered pair. So this will automatically convert it to a vector for us. And so if I want this to be the vector 2, 3, then you see that a vector gets created and it gets plotted over here as well. Okay, now if I press enter, that gets plotted. I can uncheck it if I don't want to show it. You can actually look at the properties of that by right-clicking, choosing settings. Over here you have some options, like you can say, don't show the object. That's just going to uncheck it. Remove the label. You can actually, instead of having it show the name of the vector, and you can change the name of the vector here, you can have it be the caption. So if I wanted to say that this is the vector for t equals 0, then I can type in t equals 0, and I can just select caption. And so you can see that that's just the vector corresponding to t equals 0. Now, if I want to plot another vector, and I want to call this perhaps x sub 1 to show what would happen if I transform the x naught vector, again, this is not essential. I'm just calling it something new so that I can reference it later if I need to. And I'll type in equals. Now, what I want to actually plot is the new vector after it gets multiplied by a. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start typing in vector again. And instead of actually typing in a physical point here, what I'll type is A times X underscore 0. And then when I press enter, well, it's already plotted the vector. You can see that it's the vector 818, and it's produced this vector here. You can see that the label on it is x1. Again, this just makes it convenient so that I can change the settings on it. So for example, this is 1 multiplication by A. And again, what I can do is just select to show the caption. That way I can keep track of the difference between the vectors. I can also change the color. Some of these features are probably not ones that I would recommend getting into. And so we can repeatedly go through this process to create multiplications and to be able to keep track of exactly what we are doing. Now, GeoGebra can be a very powerful tool for doing many, many, many other things, but that's pretty much all we need to do. If you want to export this as an image, then you can just click on Export Image, and you can either copy it to clipboard or download it, and it will download as a .png file, which will allow you to take that image and do something with it later on. The alternative to this is that you can save the file itself, or you can download as, and you can, if you download this as a, and you can choose different options too. You can choose different image files or convert it to a PDF. If you download the .ggb, what that will do is next time you come into GeoGebra, you can, and you want to access the same file and perform modifications on it, you can choose Open, and then you can go to your folder here and you can find that file on your desktop. You can also create an account and save it directly to your account. So if you click Save, I'm already logged in. You can use Gmail to create an account, and that just allows you to store your files to the cloud. Now I will mention this, GeoGebra can be a little clunky, and by that I mean that sometimes you want to click or modify something and it just won't let you, and that's just unfortunately one of the features that, because this is a free product, that we at this time cannot get support for. So I apologize in advance if you have any frustrations trying to get things to format correctly. It may take you a couple of tries, but over time you'll figure out the quirks. Another thing you can do in here really briefly is you can actually put in text on the graph itself. So if I want to, say this is a transformed vector, and you click OK, you can actually grab that text and put it wherever you want. And another funny thing is that now that I've selected the ABC feature, anywhere I click, it's just going to ask me to insert another text bar to make it so that you can actually just drag. See, like right now, if I try to drag the graph, I'm not going to be able to. You have to go back to the pointer and click on that, and now you can drag freely. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can either use you can use the, I'm not sure why that's not working, but you can change your settings. You can oh, here we go. Zoom out, zoom in, or if you click the home button, that's just going to get you back to the standard window. So hopefully this has been helpful in helping you get your mind around how GeoGebra works.